So our NightWatch products are outdoor infrared IR and white light illuminators, and it's a complete line of illuminators. So in the IR side, we have invisible IR light at 940 nanometers, and visible light, which glows a little red, at 850 nanometers, in separate white light and IR illuminators, and our new hybrid product. So these are run by power over Ethernet. You got to use PoE plus. They're IP65 environmentally designed. So dust, water, stuff like that are protected, and IK9 impact resistant. So again, complete line of products, use them in all kinds of different applications, and we're going to talk about those applications. So, with your 940 nanometers, it can be sort of a covert installation because that's invisible light. They don't see the IR device glowing. The 850 nanometer unit, of course, they see the IR light glowing. No light pollution. You can do up to 614 foot distance with it, which is kind of a unique feature of it. It has these lens packs that comes with it. And again, we'll talk all about that stuff shortly. So we have the 850 nanometers product, 614 foot, easy web-based installer you guys see, and you can adjust for field of view. It does talk to our Spectrum product, and we do have some interesting sets of brackets for it, so you can add more illuminators to a particular area. Then we have our 940 one, which goes not as far, 376 maximum distance, but that's because of the wavelength of light. Again, the same direct integration, same easy to use integration, the same lens packs or diffuser packs that come with it. And then we have the white light one, which is really my kind of favorite one because it adds light to a scene. You could go out and put in a very high resolution camera, and if it's under an eave, it's a little too dark an area, and you'll have trouble or have to hire an electrician to add the more light you might need. This is a good option because you don't have to hire an electrician to run low voltage cable to this to then give you some light on the scene, plus our integration with Spectrum. It does full color rendition. And like I said, we're going to talk more about how to handle it, how to control it. Again, PoE, 370 foot range. You can adjust all your illumination levels for different power settings like we'll talk about, and then direct integration with the Spectrum IPVMS. So the hybrid model, which is the new model, is just another interesting way of handling it. There are two models, one that's white light with the 850 nanometers, and then one that's the white light with the up in the invisible spectrum of IR at 940 nanometers combined. Okay, so you get into the 850 nanometer one, you can go up to 614 foot IR coverage or 374 foot of white light coverage. This is new. This has our clean view coating on it, which if rain gets on it and starts drying on it, it tries to repel the rain. So this way, dust, debris, and all the other stuff doesn't really try to stick to it. You can use and we're going to talk a little bit about this, you can use the IR light, either in the invisible or the 850 nanometer scale, along with the white light. So you can have someone enter an area, they're recognized as a person. And again, some of you guys were in on my webinar last week where we talked about the in-camera analytics, and you could have then the white light turn on as an attempt to deter them. And again, the direct integration with Spectrum. And then, of course, this is the one with the invisible light, 940 nanometers, a little bigger case than the standard ones. So they're both have extra IRs in them. They're a little taller. Same thing, clean view. And again, white light and IR light combined in one housing rather than having to have two illuminators to do those jobs. So one of the things about the actual spectrum integration is you can combine the illuminators with our megapix panel cameras. So the panel cameras, have that extra lenses. They go around a turn. We're trying to give you 150, 360, 180 degree views. Okay. And so you can use those lights with those products. Sometimes you'd only need one of them, because if you have all the, you put on the right lens diffuser, it'll spread the light out properly for that particular camera. Or you might need two. In some cases, especially if you're going out very far, I want to have that light hitting a gate, 150, 200 feet away. You might need three of them to really get a gate or a fence line there. You can do a lot of different things with the commands from Spectrum, which we will talk about in this, including just having on motion, on detection, manually doing it via soft trigger. So you're in the software, you're on camera X, and you just want to turn on the light on that camera. You can do it that, and on analytic event. So the illuminators, depending on which model you have, of course, is you have your distances. So if you use a particular diffuser, so if you used a 10-degree diffuser, which is very tight, you'll get the full distance. Okay. Same with the 940 nanometer, and the same with the white light illuminator. And then, of course, you've got your field of view, which is your width of your view. This is a good chart to have, because what you can do is, if you use the correct lineup with let's say just the millimeters of the camera, you get a 4mm camera. Let's say that gives you an 80-degree view. You would then put in the 80-degree diffuser to give you the same angle as the camera view. You may want to have it a little wider if you want, up to you and how the installation works. This is another way of look at it in feet and meters, and then the different diffusers and how they work. So a couple different charts there to allow you to do it. And then, of course, there's this view, which is probably the easiest one. You got your 95-degree diffuser, 80-degree diffuser, 60, 30, 20, and 10 gives you, of course, the tightest beam of light going out there to the cameras. And of course, we've got our illuminators. This is a mock-up scene, if you will, showing a motion detector, our sight watch, 3 illuminators, and then one of our 21 or 48 megapixel. And of course, we have our flex cameras too. That'll give you, at least 180-degree view. That one actually has 4 images in it. Trying to illuminate a whole scene. Maybe one of these is a hybrid with IR, so that stuff's kind of off, and then the white light comes up as a deterrent. And hold on a second. So we also, again, have the sight watch, night watch combination. So if you can have our motion detectors and one of these illuminators, they can just talk directly to each other, or talk directly to Spectrum to do, of course, other things. You can have Spectrum on motion from the motion detection, turn on the light, but also maybe spin a PTZ camera around and send an alert to someone. So keep that in mind. And one event can trigger multiple items. The back of this thing, which is the interesting part when you're a tech, of course, is you got your mounting bracket, how it mounts. You got a reset switch, which resets it back to factory. Factory settings, I believe the IP address is 192.168.1.10. And then it forces you to change the setup password. There's a little LED on the side, a pressure relief valve. So if it's getting too hot inside of it, you have the thing in direct sunlight, it releases air out of the back. And of course, the connector with your Ethernet there. If you notice LED indicator, it'll flash at you if it's underpowered, if you're not using a strong enough PoE injector, or your switch might say it's PoE plus, but it might be starving devices for power because it thinks it's a green one. There are switches out there that use the green technology that if it's not being pulled at that moment, will actually power stuff down on the devices to save energy, which is fine. But you may want to turn that green stuff off for either certain ports, or turn it off for just devices like this that are going to probably draw the max of a PoE plus port. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So let's take a quick look at what comes in the box. So this is just a quick view for you guys. Pull the item out of the box, shaking hands and all. Illuminator. You've got your mounting screws. You've got your diffusers. You got kind of, it comes with a 20, 30, and 95. It doesn't require a 10 diffuser, because with no diffuser in it, it is 10. Okay. You can ask for a 20, but it comes with a 30, 60, and 95 in the pack, along with the mounting brackets. Quick setup guide tells you how to get it going in there for the different models. So again, kind of easy to use. The menus, when you log into it, it forces you to change. First thing it does, force you to change to a strong password. All right. And very straightforward menuing system. Got to make that change. So we go in and we show our different settings here. So you can enable, disable events. I don't know why you would do that. Change your power settings so you can have your defaults for your standard power settings. If you want to run it at low energy or what's called a boost mode, you can import settings so you can get settings from other cameras. And if we have a firmware update, you can go in and select a firmware. So again, just an easy to use interface. We'll dig into that a little more. Add an event, and I might stop this. Add an event here. You can add a low light detection event, which usually from the factory is in there. Okay, so to detect low light, it'll just turn on. Okay, but you can turn on temperature rating. You might want to have it turn itself off or power itself down if the temperature gets too high. Tampering, someone's messing with the camera, trying to pull it down, whatever, that'll create an alert. And then you can actually send a timer heartbeat event. So you can send a heartbeat event to server, to a switch, to somewhere else and say, hey, I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. Maybe if it's not still there, someone has got to come out and look at it. It's not pinging, whatever. Or you can do a digital input, which would then you can have it send out an alert via a virtual output. So again, you can set the timeout, the delay, the lux level, all that. So I'll just let this go through now. Got your tampering. You give it a name. Put in a delay, whatever you want. And you can just continue to add events and say, okay, I want it to do X. I want to have it go to the Spectrum VMS, source NightWatch. I can put in a caption if I want. Description. I can test it from there, make sure the VMS takes the action. Put in a low light one. Again, maybe set a short delay. And maybe that just forces the light to turn on. So again, you can do a lot of different items with this. So you can do standard on, energy save on. So it just comes on, gives you a little bit of light, or you can set it for boost mode on, which means it's running at its highest possible quality level. Now also when you go in here, you've got your device configuration. We're going to talk a little bit more LED settings in here, but we've got all of our settings for our IP address subnet mask. If it's going to reach out to the internet, DNS, port information, okay. You can enable, disable HTTP or use HTTPS if requested. Now you're going to have to put a certificate in there, okay, but you can use it if needed. If it's a requirement on the network, you can go and use it. So it's set to be easily set up, but if it's in a more secure environment, you can make the product more secure. So going back to the LED settings, so the LED settings are set up so you can go in and change these different parameters depending on the site and where you are. So come on, Paul, get over here. There we go. Mouse is going too slow. So the LED setting, you can set your standard power setting. Maybe you set that at 50, which is 50% power. You have your energy saving mode. Maybe you set it at boost, which is not quite 100. You have a boost timeout, so you can turn it on and test standard, test what energy save mode looks like, test what boost mode looks like. And remember, you're configuring this remotely. So you're going in remotely. And so you can maybe do this in the evening, look out when the light's on there and change the power levels, stuff like that. Now, of course, you can change the strobe type, okay, and how it looks as far as temperature ratings go. We use Fahrenheit, makes it pretty easy to do it. We don't have to convert it in the system. So the diffusers. So you can add and change and use your different diffusers depending on the view of the camera. Okay, so you got a 20, you got 30s, you got 60s. I think the one doesn't require one, and you can ask for the 20 on request. So that's no diffuser, very pinpoint light. If I had cranked that thing up and had gone out and pointed in my neighbor's window, I'm sure they would have been annoyed at that one. And then we have 20-degree diffusion. So you see it's very dark around it. So it's good for, again, pinpointing something, maybe a gate that's 40, 50 feet away, giving you a good clear view of it. And then we go a little wider. Okay, so again, giving me a wider view. Now I don't go out as far. If you notice, the garbage cans in the background are in less of a view. Then we go out wider. You see they got a little darker. You can't quite tell if that one's blue or not, but now we've got that wider view, and we're now covering over here and over here. We're seeing a little more. And then of course, that's the widest. I think that's 95 degree view. And again, it's just covering more area over here. So in the different modes it has, you of course power off, and you can power on and go full power. So that's full power, 95 degrees. Then you can lower the power, a little more, or raise the power. And then we can go into like a strobe mode. I'll show you what the strobe mode looks like. Get a little strobe, if you remember going out and having fun, strobe lights everywhere. So how does Spectrum and these illuminators integrate together? Well, we've put together on the website some really good digital watchdog tech documents. Okay, so this is the URL for the document. By the way, you don't have to do this. If you want this, I'll email it to you, but you can go to our support site and just type in NightWatch. And this one I think is the first or second one that pops up. So you go to the Digital Watchdog website, go over to your right, double click support. It'll come up to our KB article page, and we'll show you this. And then it gives you all the parameters you can put into it. Okay, we've got a couple pages of information. And then this is the actual, of course, with my local IP here, the actual URL string you put in. I want to say this thing will time out after 1,000 seconds. It's not going to go quite to full power. It's going to go power 80. You can also add whether this is strobe, whatever, to the settings. So you can do it. We have a complete, actually, this one is strobe. This one is just power on. See, state, strobe state on. This is state on. And we've got strobe in the middle here. I don't have strobe over here. It's just custom. Okay, and you can set your parameters, and away you go. So very easy to set up. I'm going to actually show you in Spectrum where to find that. And that is under the DW rules. So you bring up rules, got rules, you go up, add rules. And then you say, what do you want to do? Do I want it on analytic event? Do I want a soft trigger? Do I want it on motion? However you want to do it. So I'm doing an analytic event on one of our analytic cameras. I'm going intrusion. Then I'm going to say do HTTP request. So what we're doing is we're sending a request to the camera to do X, and X happens to be turn on. And the only thing I have to add besides that string is the authentication to the camera. Now I can add other users, so I don't have to use that admin username and password. Okay. And I can sit there now and turn on and off the light with a soft trigger button on the screen, or with an analytic event, or with other stuff going on in Spectrum. Now, I can create multiple soft triggers or multiple analytic events, to that same thing, which says turn on the camera, or I can have another one that turns off the camera. I can have events that are triggered by the scheduler. So I can create a scheduler saying between, 7 in the morning and 6 at night, 7 at night, that's not going to, that particular event is not going to operate. So you're not going to have during the day a light turning on, light turning off. Soft trigger won't work, but then after a certain period of time, you can do it. Now, you can customize the icon so it looks like a light. I don't know why we have snow there, but maybe, I don't know, maybe we're going to come out with this, something that makes snow. I don't know. But anyway, you can turn on and off a light, different ones of those, you know, thumbs up, lock, unlock for a gate, turn on and off a fan. So Spectrum allows you to do it. If something is IP ready and it handles HTTP requests, you can do a lot with it. And especially now with our analytic cameras. Okay, so the analytic cameras allow you to be, you're just not dealing with motion, or you're, setting up some kind of, motion detector, which by the way are, to me are, especially over long distances, we got a laser motion detector and a few other things, still may be a little more reliable, but this allows you to set it up and give the people who may get a false alarm, but look at it and say, okay, hey, this is, I don't want it to do this anymore. Request to you how to make it not do this anymore, but also give them more interest because it can discriminate between people and vehicles. And, like I said, we talked about that last week. So we also have some other one, which is our enter zone rule. So this is the whole document, again, on our website with a video on how to do it. I'm going to try to stop this video if I can. There we go. So I can say, create a zone here. So this is someone's parking space we're covering. Okay, just for this particular example. All right, I can hit play here, go on. I can enable the event, but sorry guys. Apologize. I wanted to show you this one. We can have it discriminate between people and vehicles. So it's not going to care about clutter. So if a, plastic bag, flies in there, or, there's something that determines as a group of people, or, that's not going to disturb it. It's only going to be a person or a vehicle. And maybe before a certain time or after a certain time is when that event's going to run. And that's where you have it. But we have all the instructions right here, including a video on how to set it up, along that. So this rule is different from intrusion because something has to enter the zone. Okay. Whereas intrusion, something can enter or exit and just appear, whatever, and that creates it. And then the same thing with it. We have one called exit. So something has to enter the zone, which makes it possibly a little more effective for handling lighting and stuff like that. So accessories for it are brackets. So we have different mounting brackets for single, 2 illuminators, 3 illuminators, a pole mount, and of course, I know you guys are inventive out there. And so you guys probably once or twice have made your own brackets for different things. So you can, of course, go ahead and do that. But these allow you to make, of course, the installation very easily. You can picture one of our 21 or 48 megapixel cameras or, other panoramic style cameras, this hanging underneath it, with the lights pointing down a little bit and whatever. So one of the other things I wanted to update you guys on is because we were talking about the analytics last week, is we have 18 models either shipping or ready to or almost ready to ship. We have 5 more of these 5 in the pipeline. One of the 18 we have ready to ship is pano cameras. So we have pano with analytics in it. So again, you got to think of these illuminators. What can the illuminator do for you? If you use the analytics, they can be used much more effectively, especially as a deterrent. You set them in that strobe mode. You don't have to hire an electrician. Really makes it good. And we have more models at higher resolution coming on the horizon. Okay, and this is a shot from our website. And you can go and look at press releases, tech bulletins related to these resources. This happens to be we have 5 and 9 megapixel part numbers. So by all means, go take a look at our website. More and more of our models, if you look here, UL listed. So let's take a look at that. A couple of other things is all the stuff I talked about today is on the NDAA TAA list. All right. So you can go in there and make sure it's set up. It all integrates with Spectrum. And if you want to view more videos, more webinars, more training materials, tech bulletins, whatever. We have this training resource site right on our website. And if you notice, though, on our tech bulletin side, the one I showed you has videos from here integrated with the tech bulletin. So you can just download the text or grab the pictures off of it, but also maybe go and reference the video later. So it makes it like really easy to do. Hopefully we'll be doing some on-site learning here in Tampa shortly. We're going to set some stuff up. We have our brand new training room ready to go, and maybe do some on-site training remotely. And I think what I got